into the
To the
next
next
life
life
with
with
Drew
Drew
and
and me.
me. Okay. All right. Welcome to the Drew and Me podcast. Today we are joined by local Philly comedian Dan Vetrano.
Woot woot! I am about to buy a car, so a local no more.
Okay. So on the Drew and Me podcast, we talk about movies, music, we do sketches, and then we talk about whatever else we want to talk about. It's an open area. We can talk about anything we want to. It's just fun. It's all about fun. Maybe at some point we'll get to the point where people can like call in with questions, which actually would be pretty cool. But we're not at that point yet. So, but at the same time, we can talk about anything. So, but we're mainly movies, music, and we do a sketch. So, and Dan, do you have any
Yes.
shows coming out, or do you have any creative content that you'd like to pump up or promote at this time?
Yeah, well, I have a show every Tuesday. I'm sorry, I'm just fiddling with my hair.
Okay.
This is an audio podcast, right? There's no video on this.
There is also video, but it's all good. All right. Okay.
Oh, great. Okay, so you're telling me this unshowered flick of hair here is just gonna be all right. You look like a Ace Ventura with a sad hairline. Great. Cool. I love it. Do I have shows coming up? Yes. And yes, I have a show on every Tuesday. I host a show with Cassandra D at Wissahickon Bar and Bistro, and it's
Great.
so cool. We gotta have you on that, and then there's like an open mic after as well, and so that's every Tuesday. What else do I have coming up? I don't know. Um, I'm buying a car, so that's pretty creative. And yeah, I'd say I don't know. That's it. You do the credits up top. I like that. I like that. It's like, boom, before we find out if you're funny, let's hear what you're working on. I love that. That's cool.
Yeah,
You're,
it was honestly like how I was taught. Years ago when I started doing comedy at the L2, that was the first open mic that I went to in Philly. Did you ever go to the L2?
I did. Yeah, that was at like what 22nd and South Street or something. I think or something around that L2 room. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
upstairs. There was a disco ball.
Yes,
Um,
yes. Okay.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, it was very odd. There were like abandoned statues, I want to say.
Yeah,
There was like definitely a mannequin or two never
yeah.
dressed. They never dressed their mannequins. There's one thing I know about L2 bar. They never dressed their mannequins. And then there was like, I don't know. I don't remember it very well, but I remember like just walking in and being like, oh, it's a cocaine bar. That's just the vibe I got. Maybe it was the disco ball.
Oh.
I'm sorry. It seems like I just shattered your dreams.
No, no, no,
I
no,
thought
no,
it was a
no.
sobriety bar.
No, no, the L2 was one of my favorites.
Is it
Brian
still there?
Six.
Is it still around?
I'm not sure.
I hope
It's
not.
honestly been a really long time, but Brian Six and Dan King, Andrew Spasato, and Tim Ramus used to run it, and they did a really good job with it. And I always really enjoyed that room. I always found it really fun, and sometimes Jess Carpenter would guest host. And the first mic I went to, he just right off the top, he was like, "Okay, does anyone have any shows they want to pump up or promote in the area?" And it was really helpful. Like you just know what was going on in Philly, so you know what other like comedy stuff's going on. So
Hmm.
Jess Carpenter and Rick Giuliani were really helpful for that because Rick Giuliani said, look at the blog or, or bad Slava or bad Salvia. And that used to be updated with all the Philly stuffs. I think it's now defunct. And then Nicole Yates was curating some type of Philly comedy schedule too, which was really helpful.
Yeah.
So just being a new comic and being aware of all of the different opportunities and also the cool creative things that people were doing, which was really cool. Like
That does sound cool. I've never been a new comic, so I wouldn't know about that. But that is cool. I just hearing from somebody who's had that experience. Yeah, I've always been doing this. All right, came out of the womb and was like first joke. Right, but yeah, that's I do remember that being a very helpful room. I definitely remember like a lot of I mean, Jess and Nicole, they all definitely did a lot to like help keep us in the loop in shows that were happening. I didn't remember that they did that at L2, but that's very cool. And now because of that, you now ask for credits up top, which is a nice little thing because you always hear people do it at the end of the podcast. Be like, all right, you're done. We're about to leave. But before we do that, what do you got coming up? And it's like, you know what? No one listens to the last 30 seconds of a podcast. We can say whatever we want on the last 30 seconds of this podcast. No one's going to listen to it.
Yeah. And no, but that's why I do it. And I also want to keep people in the know too.
Yeah.
Just in the know of everything that's going on. And
now honestly, I feel bad. I only said one thing. All I said was, I don't know, where's the Hicken bar and what. I feel like I should.
Do you have anything else? Okay.
I can make some stuff up. I'll make up some credits for you, Drew, because I feel like I didn't have enough. So you can catch me at the Frog Castle every Friday through Friday, all 7 days of the week. I am there. That is a 2 to 4:30 show, parents only. All right. I keep stressing that. And still we have a lot of kids show up unattended. Every Sunday, you can catch me at the Duke of Sandwich, which I really love. It's a fun room, small, intimate, only 600-700. We are sponsored by Chase Bank, so everyone gets a free debit card when they attend. And every Tuesday, and this is something I'm really passionate about, I'm recording an album at Woody's, the gay bar. And it's upstairs in the maintenance room. So not open to the public, so no one can come to this one. But I will be recording it on Woody himself. And that's all the info you're going to get about that. I really shouldn't have even mentioned that last one. But so those are my credits. Those are my credits, not my upcoming shows, my credits. That's what I put on my resume.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Really cool, Dan. I'm shocked and I'm in awe. Okay.
I know you're hearing these and you're like, God, how do I get booked at that Frog Castle?
I know. Yeah.
Don't
is
even
there a
try
Toad
it.
Castle too, or is it just a Frog Castle?
Oh my God, what is this? Super Mario? Please.
Okay.
Please, this is not a game, Drew. These are serious gigs that are going to thrust me to stardom, which also is not a Mario reference, although it does seem like it might be.
Okay.
Lay off the pipe. Again, not a Mario reference. Stop hearing references.
Okay, so we are in the know about everything that is going on in the whole world now. So now we can talk about one of my personal favorite movies that I watched on Lifetime in high school, called Speak, starring Kristen Stewart, based on the book by I actually have another
Sapphire.
one of the books right here. I'm gonna grab it. Laurie Halse Anderson. Laurie.
Wait, the original book was called Shout. And the movie is called
No, this is another one. So Laurie Halse and Anderson wrote Speak, which is a fantastic book, fantastic movie, and this is another book she wrote called Shout, which is also good. So
I was gonna say this book, the Speak sounds a little quieter, a bit of a quieter interpretation. She really
um
toned it down for that one. Took it down a level. She said, "Let me scale back." Anyway, this story is about rape. Anyway, let's continue.
it's true. All right, that is one way to just jump right in.
To just jump right in. It's like, let me see how many jokes I can make about this movie that is most certainly about sexual assault. Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the Kristen Stewart character, it's about an interaction that she has with a boy at a party, and she gets raped at a party, and it's really a terrible situation. And she's basically scarred throughout the whole movie, and she doesn't want to talk or really do anything. And she's really antisocial, and she's in a very deep depression. And the movie is just kind of her about coping with it and getting out of the depression. And I think she has like really intense PTSD in the movie, and then one of the main ways she copes is through art and through drawing trees and making sculptures out of trees in her art class with her art teacher played by Steve Zahn.
Who I confuse with Breckenmeyer every day of my life. I'm like, how are those not the same person? You're saying Breckenmeyer is not Steve Zahn and Steve Zahn is not Breckenmeyer. Okay, sure. No, I'll buy it. Absolutely, sure.
I remember the first time watching this, absolutely loving the Steve Zahn character as the art teacher. I believed it. He was really into it. One thing I don't like is he complains about the school cutting his art budget, which some schools don't even have art budgets. So that's not fair on Steve Zahn's part. Okay.
That is so funny. I never thought of that when I was watching. And they're like, oh, well, he's basically getting fired. He essentially like gets fired from his job, and you're like, wow, he really should not be complaining. That's hilarious. I mean, yeah, so they cut his budget, which I mean, you're right. I mean, my school, they cut the budget for sports. Like we almost didn't have sports at all because our school was really poor. So I get it. It's like, art seems like a cool, like, privilege almost, but like, I don't know. I feel like if I was in school and they cut my art teacher's budget, I would be upset for the teacher. I would be upset if I was the teacher because art is so important, as I think Steve Zahn, aka Breckenmeyer's character, says throughout the thing. He's like, this is the only I didn't know. I forgot if I was watching a Road Trip or this. But anyway, so there is a part in the show or in the movie. It's a movie, folks. Where he says, this is the only class. I think it's the first thing he says. This he goes, students, this is the only class that will teach you to survive. And I thought that was a really cool line. Because it's like art is one of those underrated things, and you don't really see the importance of it in high school. But it's like it is really, really important to like get people in high school to tap into their creative side and to like express perhaps some PTSD or trauma that they have through like a creative outlet, which is certainly not something you're going to do in English class. And so, but it is pretty funny that he like, insulted all the other classes right up top of being like, this is the only survival class. Like, I thought that was cool. So I feel for you. They shouldn't have cut his budget. Oh no, that's not what you said. You thought he was being too uptight about complaining about his budget being cut. I'm sorry, I disagree with you.
Um, no, part of it was and this is weird because I honestly love the character like so much. Like this is an awesome character. Like I really do love Mr. Freeman, but he is kind of whiny and he like complains in front of the students, which makes him look kind of weak. And you even see at the end of the movie when the students are saying goodbye to him, they're not doing it for them, they're doing it for him. They're like, okay, like you are a good teacher. Like they're like pumping him up. Like they're like, okay, like you're a good teacher, thank you, I enjoyed you, I hope you keep teaching because we're not sure if you will. So um like he's kind of a teacher they're kind of worried about. And he's so principled too, which is interesting. And like you said about survival and like the art is important for that. No, like it's like yeah, for like coping with PTSD or coping with trauma, it can be like a huge outlet. So I do like that they really kind of focus on that. And I don't know that much about Laurie Halse Anderson personally. I haven't watched any interviews with her or anything, but I'm guessing that she finds art as a useful outlet too, or she at least has an understanding that it can help with trauma. So
yeah,
it does feel personal. It does feel really personal. It does feel really real. So yeah, the art aspect I think is kind of the focal point for the movie, and I really like it. And there's a line Steve Zahn has when he's saying "think tree" to Kristen Stewart to make sure that she stays focused and on task, and that because her assignment for the whole semester is just to draw a tree or to do.
And she keeps trying to draw other things. And I wanted Steve Zahn's character to be like, I said fucking tree. She keeps being like, well, I found some like bones in the turkey on Thanksgiving that we didn't eat. I was going to kind of stack those like Legos. And he's like, how about a tree? So there was that whole moment. She's like, I don't know, maybe I'll just like chill. And she's like, tree. So she definitely like loses focus a lot. Again, she's got PTSD from a very terrible thing that happened to her. But yeah, she sucks at the art at first, but then she gets good.
No, yeah, she gets a lot better and she gets really into it. And her parents encourage it too. They get her a sketchbook and I think either colored pencils or crayons, or they get her writing utensils for drawing. They get her like the proper drawing materials, and it's a Christmas present. It's like, what did you get for Christmas? I got art supplies. Okay.
And she, yeah, I know, but okay. Actually, you bring up a really interesting point because, first of all, I would just like to say she did not say thank you for that gift at all. It was this nice scene where you can see by her face that she really appreciates it. Because they're like, oh, we saw you drawing, so we got you all this stuff. And she just stares at them with a look of appreciation, but never says thank you. Rude. Like it's fucking Christmas. Mutter a thanks. Okay, but this brings up a really good point. So do you feel like in this movie, they are sending maybe confusing signals about whether or not these are good parents? Because I feel like the very first scene of the movie, Kristen Stewart, I don't remember her character's name, but we'll just call her Kristen.
Okay.
So Kristen Stewart, she turns around, her mom walks into the room, she turns around and appears like her mouth is like sewn shut. It's later revealed that it's makeup, but it looks like her mouth is sewn shut. Her mom sees this. This is the very first scene of the movie. Her mom sees this, and the only first thing she says is, oh, I don't even want to know. Anyway, there's a pot roast on the table. Or no, sorry, there's a pot pie on the table. And she just walks out, like seeing her daughter with her mouth sewn shut is like, oh my God, I'm so sick of this shit. So you kind of get this feeling like, oh my God, like her mother is like, seems a little distant. Maybe she's ignoring something. But then throughout the movie, she's like, you know, there to like comfort her and give her advice about her friends. She's there to buy her. She notices that her daughter's drawing, so she buys her this really nice. I think she's a really good mom, but there's a couple
Yeah.
of red herring moments that throw us off. And I didn't know why the movie was trying to do that. Be like, is she bad? Maybe, possibly. Nah, she's not. She's. It seemed interesting.
Yeah. Uh. Um. Right. um. Um. No, like I completely agree. I think she gets better as the movie goes along. Um, but she's so like career oriented, and I think that's like really hard for her. So like maybe she doesn't give her daughter the amount of attention that she needs, but she also doesn't know what's wrong. So like the Kristen Stewart character, I think her name's
Melanie.
Melinda.
Oh,
Uh,
Melinda. Yes,
yeah,
we'll call her Melanie.
Melanie. Okay,
That's
all
my
right.
guess.
um, but yeah, like she's kind of going through stuff. So like they don't really get into why Melinda didn't really say what happened. Like I I I think part of it was like she was kind of excised by her friends and kind of completely like just sent in sent into exile kind of so she didn't really have anything, and then I guess she doesn't really know how to react to the situation, and it's just kind of hard for her to talk about. And maybe she didn't know anyone who had been raped before, so she didn't know like,
Mm.
okay, you can like there are steps you can take, like you can call rape crisis, you can seek counseling, like because they don't really show her getting too much treatment. Like it's like her therapist is the art teacher, like her
Yeah,
therapist is the art teacher, which
and he gets
that's
fired.
good and
I
bad,
mean,
right? Okay.
it's pretty crazy. They're like, art and therapy not needed. We'll just keep our super racist social studies teacher.
Yeah, I like him a lot actually. Like in the
Yikes,
more I watch it,
yikester.
I actually really like him. Like he's very military, he's very rules.
Hmm.
Um, and you see deep down he knows he's wrong. So,
Yeah.
um, he's a very layered character, and I love at the end they show like him like he's like, Melinda, what's wrong? Like this, like if something actually serious is happening, he would help
Hmm.
her. So, and like if the shit really went down, he would help Melinda.
I
And I
did
feel
like
like
that. Yeah.
so I feel like he's kind of someone who's kind of like rough around the edges, but if he really needed his help, I might go to Mr. Neck rather than the art teacher, rather than Mr.
Mm.
Freeman. Like I think Mr. Freeman would be helpful, but he leaves at the end, and like the social studies teacher's still there. So
Hmm.
Mr. Neck's still there, and I think that's kind of what they're getting at. That
He stuck his neck out for him.
like you know um she might be able to go to him in the future, and
Mm.
maybe they can be friends now, which would be
Yeah.
cool. So that's something I actually really enjoyed about the ending.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to see her tell Mr. Neck more than any other character because I wanted to
Mm.
see like his reaction. I wanted to see like his helping side as more of that, as opposed to him just standing up for his white family and blaming
Yeah,
immigrants.
yeah,
um
yeah.
that was like but so I wanted to see more of that side because it did. I think you're right in that, like, if she confided in him and said like something really serious happened, he would go into like parental mode, into teacher mode.
Yeah.
Whereas like Mr. Breckenmeyer's character, what's his name?
Mr. Freeman. It's supposed to be like free man. He's
Oh god.
free. So Mr. Freeman.
Okay, there's a lot of heavy-handed symbolism in this, and we'll get
At
to
the
that
same
in one
time,
second.
I actually really enjoy it. Like,
Yeah, it's on purpose. It's purposeful, and it's aware of it. I would say it's
and
very
I
self-aware.
think it works actually. I think it
But
works well. And
yes,
also, if you're a kid watching it, I feel like it's helpful in that way. Like, obviously, you and I are both adults, so it's like, okay, we know what you're doing. Like, Freeman,
yeah.
Freeman.
I actually didn't even get that until you mentioned it because I'm a child.
No, 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 no,
You
no.
heard it here first, folks. I'm a kid. But no, but yeah, I feel like if she had gone to Mr. Freeman and and said I was sexually assaulted, he would just be like, well, draw another tree. Like it might be maybe draw a cloud or something to like. So I do feel like Mr. Neck has the more like practical approach to stuff like that, whereas Mr. Freeman is, like the I'm a spirit, I'm an orb, I'm the sky, so it's sort of like, well, I need help. um,
And you do need both of them.
you totally do. They you can't survive without either of them, which is why one of them gets fired.
And just to in the support of in the support of Mr. Neck, just again because I feel like he does get a really bad rap in this movie. So just in like the support for Mr. Neck, he tries to get Melinda to do an oral report, and that would have helped her. That would have helped her if she would have actually done it. An oral
Mm.
report in from the class, that would have helped her. That would have helped build her public speaking skills.
Oh,
Like,
so do you think that's why he was trying to get her to do that? Did he know like that something was going on with her?
I got he wanted to emasculate her. That's
Mm.
kind of, but I think Mr. Neck is very complicated. So I think it was twofold. I think one, it was to emasculate her, two, to make her stronger.
Mm.
So um he was trying to get her to be a better public speaker, and I think he sees her as kind of the C student who could turn into an F student, who could drop out or who could fail out. So he kind of wants to help her in that way. And
Mm.
he does give her no, like he gives her the opportunity to do extra credit. Like she got a D, but he's like, okay, you do another assignment, you can get a better grade. Like not all teachers will do that. So
Yeah.
in that regard, like good job, Mr. Neck. And I think that's kind of what Laurie Halse Anderson's getting at, or the screenwriter's getting at, is Mr. Neck. He's rough around the edges, but he's the good teacher.
Yeah. There's a reason Mr. Neck has been there for so long. Yeah, no, I liked him. I liked a lot of the characters. I liked the friend, like the girl that was so obsessed with her social status.
Ugh,
And that,
I hate that
she's,
character. Okay.
I know, I mean, I liked her because she's bad, but there was absolutely always a person like her in high school who was so obsessed about with which table they were going to sit with in high school, sit out in high school. They were so obsessed about like what they were going to do. They weren't just in survival mode. They thought they were in survival mode, but they were doing it so much where every move was a calculation of how can I be liked? How can I be, and a lot of us are going through that in high school. But then there's like always one person that like is obsessed with it. And that was so her. And she just sort of would use Melanie when she needed to for whatever she needed to. So it was cool to watch her stand up for herself in the end. The Melanie's character named Kristen Stewart, stand up for
Yeah.
herself and just be like, yeah, get out of here. And then the mom smiles at that because the mom is good. She's great. She's a great mom. Why are we supposed to believe she's bad? I'm not buying it. Why? Because she had to run to her job on Thanksgiving Day. Okay, that sounds kind of bad, but it was fine. She works at a Macy's or something. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion about it. Or I guess it turns out I don't have much of an opinion.
No, I feel like they should have given the mom more of an arc. If they would have made this movie 20 or 30 minutes longer, I feel like the mom could have definitely gotten more of an arc. And I
Yeah.
I think they could have done more with her. And even though I do like the way she was used, and I do like that Christmas present of the sketchbook, and she's trying to encourage it, and she's like, Melinda, open your mouth when they're at the meeting with the principal, which if it's a meeting with the principal, it's never good. So okay.
Ever. Yeah. Why won't she speak? And then the dad, who is his whole thing is that he's a dumbass, I guess. That's they're like, so the
But he
dad,
plays golf with
unfortunately,
like the school board president and stuff. Like he has connections.
but they make sure to make it known that he's a fucking dumbass. And he's always like, huh? That's kind of his whole aura. And but at that meeting, he is like, what does he do? He's like, I used to have a little girl, a sweet little girl, and now she's getting D's. And then the mom is always just like, shut up, you're doing it wrong. And he's like, oh, I guess I am. This is fun. I like them. We love them.
So, Dan, does
Yeah.
Melinda have daddy issues?
Does Melinda have daddy issues? I feel like she has mommy issues
Hmm.
because her mom is the one that's very like maybe I mean her mom is essentially like asserting herself more. Like whenever the dad says something, she kind of like steps on it and is like, no, just let me handle this. She says, let me handle this like 12 times throughout the movie. I love that. And I just feel like maybe, her daughter, Melinda, it's one of those.
No.
Um, that she, I feel like she kind of has a sense like she wants more of her dad's feedback, but her mom like steps in a lot and steps on it. So I don't know. I think she has parental issues.
Yeah, I agree. She has issues with both of them. Would she have been better off living with one of her grandparents?
Did we meet the
No,
grandparents?
we don't. No. Okay.
Oh, that would be nice. Well, then I'm gonna say no because if we didn't meet them, then they don't have a good. I need to meet them before I can send off my Melanie. I don't want her to just go into anyone's care. I need to meet these grandparents and make sure that
Yeah.
they're good people.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Have you seen the movie Black Swan?
I love Black Swan.
I feel like you could watch these two together.
Totally. Okay. There's the demanding mother who only wants the best for her daughter, but isn't really observing the pain she's going through, possibly because of her own life, her own benefit, her own blah blah blah. There's some
Mhm.
similarities, there's some parallels for sure.
Yeah.
And then there's that scene where Breckenmeyer eats
Okay.
eats out Natalie Portman. I'm just kidding. That didn't happen.
Okay. Uh, yeah.
This isn't a
Uh,
family friendly podcast, is it? Not anymore, I guess.
um, it's a, depends on the episode. Okay.
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 Not this one, folks. I've
Okay.
mentioned cocaine bars and Breckenmeyer performing oral sex. So this one's not PG.
Yeah. Yeah. to the character's credit in the movie, I think the Mr. Freeman character is okay. Like, I think he does treat his like students well, and there's a scene where Kristen Stewart like hurts herself, like she cuts herself, and Mr. Freeman, he asks one of Melinda's friends to help take her to the nurse, and he does it immediately. So if there's something within his jurisdiction or something that he knows, like he'll be able to help. But if there, but if there are things that go beyond his scope, like, or something he doesn't know how to do, I'm not sure if he'd be able to get help in that situation. So he does kind of have like a substitute teachery type vibe, like that. He's never in one place really at one time. He's very nomadic, but that also makes him look at things differently. And people like Melinda, who really need help, who are really coping with serious trauma and don't know how to express themselves, he was able to really help her. So he is good and bad in a lot of different ways. And in some situations he can be helpful. In some situations he's not helpful at all. Like in the scene where she doesn't want to have lunch in the cafeteria, so she goes to the art room, and he doesn't let her eat. He just makes her do work. Like, it's lunch. Like, she's supposed to eat, but he just has her doing artwork. He's like, you're here, you got to work. So I don't think she actually eats her lunch. Like, she just does artwork, which
and she starves to death. That's the art teacher is like, you are not allowed to eat. and instead of her talking about her trauma from her sexual assault, she just develops an eating disorder. So thank you, Mr. Meyer. Freeman, sorry.
She does eat an apple, and
yeah, because she's so starving.
Science class, yeah.
She's so starving from her art teacher not allowing her to eat.
All right, so we're gonna blame him for that. So
Yeah,
we're gonna say, okay, Mr. Freeman, you're the reason why she ate that apple, because she was so hungry she didn't get to eat at lunch. So yes. She ate that apple because she really needed to eat something.
She brought a lunch to eat in what she thought she was taking refuge in your art class so she could have her crush orange soda and small bagged lunch, and you forced her to make a dumb tree instead.
Which is great, but like, what if she does treat it as a placemat, but she also draws on it, like it turns into Danny's essentially. Okay.
Yeah, she if she had just traced her lunch, maybe that would have worked.
Okay. That's actually not a bad idea. Okay.
She should have just brought like some of those some crab legs to crack up, where they give you that big brown piece of paper and you're just supposed to crack crab legs over it. That was kind of what she had on her little art table. You gave her a big brown piece of paper and was like, draw on this. So, just like a step over, just one roll of paper towels away from a barbecue restaurant.
Essentially. And I think that's, again, what makes Mr. Freeman good and bad. Like, he's so radical that some of his radical moves aren't good, but for someone like Melinda, it was really helpful. So just to do you have any closing remarks about Speak, or where do you think Melinda is now? So I believe this movie came out in 2005. It is 2004. Now 2004. It's now 2021. So
it's now 2021.
So 17 years ago, and Melinda was 15. So now Melinda is 32. Where is Melinda now?
Melinda is a Okay, depending on which teacher connected with her. Okay, Melinda is working border patrol. She's down at the border, Texas. Very conservative, does not like immigrants, but she because Mr. Neck probably wound up, she wound up connecting with Mr. Neck over the years, and he taught her how to be an awful person. Um, but every day when she's sitting there at the border, uh, she is drawing a little tree. And she's like, she took a whole experience out of high school. So she's an awful person with some trauma, granted, with some trauma,
Okay.
but she's an awful person, but she is artistic a little bit. Either that or she's um or great person. She works at a one of those cat cafes, um where you can, she serves lattes and feeds the cats and you can pet cats, but she's a little xenophobic, just a little xenophobic, because again, Mr. Neck, she connected with him. So she's either a great person with a little shitty side or a shitty person with a little cool side. I don't know, what do you think?
Uh, um, I feel like her sexual awakening probably happened in college, and I think she probably went a little bit too nuts in college. So it was either sink or swim. So I think she probably ended up at a rehab center or became a teacher.
mm.
So I'm gonna say one of those two. I
You
don't
don't think
think
she could do both? You don't think she could go to rehab and then become a teacher?
or vice versa. Um, um, and rehab doesn't necessarily work the first time, so she can go back, or
Maybe
and
she's
it's
teaching rehab. Maybe she's teaching people the steps. Maybe she's works at a rehab facility at the border. No, okay. Now we're just combining the two of mine. Yeah,
yeah.
I could see that though. Rehab. Um,
Um, maybe she teaches an art class at the rehab center. That'd actually be pretty
mm,
cool because she got really good at it. Like by the end, like when she does her like presentation to Mr. Freeman, like she takes him to like the storage closet that no one can find. That's like her secret, like kind of cave where she does all her work. Um,
yeah, in high school when you had a secret cave that no one else knew about. We all had one of those, right? We all had a section of the school that only we knew about, that not even the art teacher who could find, even though your cave was directly next to his classroom.
yeah.
We all had one of those.
um, yeah. Um, yeah, that's not realistic, and it's also defacing school property. So she could get in deep shit for that.
It would be funny if she's like, look, and he looks around and he's like, oh wow, you're going to the principal for this. This is You're going
If
away for a long time. She goes to jail.
and and Dan, I feel like you just explained what would happen if the roles were reversed. If or Mr. Neck came in there and he did it, then she would have definitely ended up in the principal's office.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe she wouldn't because he does like her. So, or he doesn't want to help her. So maybe he would say, okay, just don't do it again. And then that'd be it. but Mr. Freeman was just kind of like, it's really good. But even from Mr. Freeman's reaction, you can also kind of see like, this is really good, but maybe this isn't the healthiest way to do it. So I
Yeah.
kind of do get that again from Mr. Freeman, that he doesn't necessarily want anyone to be him. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember you saying, Dan, but before the pod had started, that you weren't a big fan of the ending. What about the ending did you not like?
So it's not that I didn't like it overall, but it's just that it's such a happy ending, and
Okay.
it's just because of the world that we're living in today. This is probably fine for 2004, but like the world that we're living in today. Yeah. It was a different world back then. But it's like so the ending is the rapist gets she tells her friend, and then ultimately everybody believes her, and they all uh like kind of attack him, and then he faces all the consequences, and she's happy and everything works out. But in reality, usually it's like a big struggle. People side with the attacker, with the abuser, and then they get away with it just fine. He probably gets a full scholarship. I want to see that part of the movie where he gets a full scholarship, and becomes like some law professor or like an IT giant. I guess it's not that I didn't like the ending, it's just that it didn't show the sad reality of what happens to these people. But it's nice to have a happy ending in a movie about rape every now and then. So sure.
um yeah. Um mm, right. Right. I guess for me personally, for the ending, I was more in the middle of it. I do like that the rapist gets his comeuppance and he's essentially blinded. So,
Mm,
which I guess it was like, you took away Melinda's speaking ability, she just took away your sight. So, an eye for an eye, literally. Okay.
yeah.
Which um I feel like the author, Laurie Halse Anderson, I feel like she's big on symbolism. So I feel like there is definitely symbolism happening there. So in that sense, I do like that. And it's very literary in that way. And kind of poetic justice.
Yeah.
So on that level, I'm happy with it. But also I agree with you. It's not a real ending.
Yeah, it's a nice, they tie it up with a little bow, and it's nice. I did like that she wrote that's how she told her friend, was she wrote it down for her to read. I
Mm,
thought that was another cool literally thing, where it's like, where she can't speak, but
mm.
she's been, practicing writing reports and doing stuff in school, so like she can write it. Um, the movie's called Speak, and she wrote it down. Hello. No, but yeah, it was good. I liked it. I like this movie. I think it was a nice watch. It was a nice watch. Just like a Rolex, this movie was a nice watch. That's me as a movie critic. You can call this a Rolex because it's a nice watch, folks. So yeah, what would you give it if you were to rate it from 1 to 2 stars?
Oh, I'd give it 2.5.
Wow. All
Okay.
right. Well, you're not good at listening to the assignment. Call me Mr. Neck because you failed. I'm gonna give it 2 stars because that's the maximum. But I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it way more than the other movie you tried to get me to watch.
Uh, um,
We don't even have to get into it. You don't want to.
we can probably briefly talk about that, but yeah, the ratings are in. We both like to speak.
Yeah, watch Speak. Don't just talk about it. Watch it.
It's good. A lot of good stuff in there.
Speak more like watch. I
And
don't. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That was the most genuine laugh I've ever heard. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I worked really hard on that joke.
And
Really hard.
And yeah. Okay. Oh. Okay, so on that note, we're gonna do a sketch called the Curry Convention. So I'm just gonna bring it up real quick. Please bear with me. But while I bring it up, so what is a song, Dan, that you've gotten into really recently that you really enjoy?
Song recently that I really enjoy. Well, so my favorite band is They Might Be Giants. Are you? Oh, I'm sorry. They Might Be Giants. Are you familiar with these people?
Um, yes. Um, They Might Be Giants is really good
Yes.
band, very well fast, uh, kind of a really large library. Um,
Very large library. And so I've just been I mainly, listen to a lot of their stuff. But so I was looking up like bands that kind of like sound like them just because like I can't just keep listening to the same band for the rest of my life. So I looked up some bands that sound like them, and I've been kind of getting into these two other bands that kind of are reminiscent of them
mhm.
and either inspired or were inspired by them. And so there's um, this band called Sparks. Are you familiar with Sparks?
Maybe vaguely.
So Sparks, there just was a documentary that came out about them by Edgar Wright, and it's like it's I haven't seen that documentary, but it's all about like how they're just like a very underrated band, but they've been around since the 70s, and so they're really cool. And they have this song called Beat the Clock, which is really fun. And I just like them because, like They Might Be Giants, they're not afraid of like, does this sound corny? Does this sound cheesy? Like, it's just like, what if we did a song and it just sounded like this? And it's all very, um, you know, at times it's unique and at times even artsy or quirky or weird, irreverent, but it's very fun. So they're a fun band. Highly recommend checking them out. There's a documentary about them which I did not make, but
Okay.
it's Beat the Clock by Sparks is really good. I like that song a lot.
Um, 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 uh, what particular aspects of Beat the Clock do you really like? Like the verses, the choruses, the instrumental?
Oh, all of those.
Okay. All right.
I will say I love the verse, but I also love the chorus, folks. I also love them all. Um, sorry, I'm getting a call from Spam Risk. I have to take this. Hi, Spam. No, I'm just kidding. I really did just get a call from Spam Risk, and okay. I like that. Well, first of all, the title of the song, Beat the Clock, is hilarious because it reminds you of like what, like a game show, right?
Mm,
And so the fact that they're just saying beat the clock, you gotta beat the clock in the song, it just reminds me of like some theme song for a game show, but it's like a whole song. It has like kind of a very 80s sound to it. It's cool. It's kind of long, I want to say. Let's see how long. Okay. It's a long song. It's 3.5 minutes. It's like okay, so that's not long. It's a normal length. I'm sorry. I'm accidentally putting stuff. So yeah, that's really cool. I like that a lot. Um, what's your favorite song that you've been listening to?
Oh, uh, I'm so tired by Jenny Lee. Um,
Hmm.
Jenny Lee is a really talented artist. I discovered her music through listening to the band Warpaint, who I got into in like 2013, and Warpaint is awesome. So I really like Warpaint. One of the best live bands I've ever seen, to be honest with you. um,
Oh,
they are really good live, very kind of vibey, kind of high concept music, very good instrumentals, very good technically. They've worked on the music immensely. They practiced a lot in garages, houses, like they played together a lot. So they're big on jamming and they're big on kind of changing it up.
love me a good jam. Love a good jam.
So but Jenny Lee also does she releases her own stuff on her own, and it's also really good. But I'm so tired is like a song like I've really gotten into recently.
I'll check that out. I'm
And
gonna Google it.
if you're into Lou Reed,
Love
you
him.
might kind of um you might like it.
Love Lou Reed. So I probably will love it. Yes.
yeah, I can't say enough positive things about Kenny Lee. I'd say her Boom Boom would be my second favorite song by Jenny Lee. I used to listen to Boom Boom when I used to like wash the dishes in my house or just kind of walk around. It was just my very like daily Drew music was like I'm gonna listen to some Jenny Lee today.
I
So
like that you're nostalgic for washing the dishes. What happened? You don't do dishes anymore? That's just, I just, is there a gigantic years long pile of dishes in your sink? And you're like, that time in my life is over. There's just like flies around it.
uh, um I used to wash more dishes. I wash dishes occasionally now, but in the living situation I'm currently in, I actually don't really have to wash dishes, which is a good and bad thing. And I actually do enjoy washing dishes to an extent. So
Oh, well, I've always got some to, if you want to head on down here, if
okay.
you want to put on some Jenny Lee, I'll crank the Jenny Lee if you want to tidy this whole place up. Actually, we'll put on an album. Let's read your sketch. I'm excited.
Cool. Let's see. The Curry Convention. Would you like to play Curious Man or Moderator?
Which one would you like me to play?
Um, let's see. The Moderator.
Sounds great. Cool. Well,
So, do you have it queued up, or would you like me to
I have
share
it
my
queued up.
screen?
Yeah, I have it queued up.
Cool.
Do you want me to read stage direction?
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
awesome, Dan.
I've got a sketch background, so I'm gonna kill this. Been doing sketch comedy for 12 years, and no big deal. Anyway, the Curry Convention, written and directed by Drew A. Garrison. I don't know what your middle initial is. Is it A?
No.
Okay, well, it is now.
Okay.
Interior, the Seas Convention Center. A big room connecting to other big rooms that contains tables and exhibits related to the letter C. This is Curry Month. Curious man enters and walks up to a convention moderator.
What is the hullabaloo here?
Well, this here is the curry convention, and as you can see, we have various curries dispersed among the tables in the exhibit room. And then I put moderator points towards the tables. We see Mark Curry looking bored at his table. That's Mark Curry over there by table 2 on the TV table, as made famous by TV. You might know him if you've ever watched Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Moderator looks ponderously at Curious Man.
No, I can't say I have.
You know, TGIF.
His show was on there, and TGIF is apparently a thing again, though the programming nowadays may be questionable.
I guess that's you as well.
Oh, okay.
I feel like the last one was supposed to be my line. I don't know. It's fine. We're powering up.
Okay. Who's that?
Oh, that's Tim Curry of Rocky Horror fame. That's Tim Curry of Rocky Horror fame from the 70s. Clue and Legend from the 80s. See, if you grew up in the 90s, you know him as pretty much the voice of every animated villain, with special emphasis on Hexus from Fern Gully and Mal, Dr. Bright's computer from Captain Planet. And in the 2000s, he was in Charlie's Angels.
He looks excited, but tired.
Well, he is over 70, but you didn't hear that from me.
And what about that table?
Steph Curry is seen swarmed by fans signing autographs. Oh, that's Steph Curry's table.
Who?
You know, the most popular basketball player in America, second to LeBron James, the inventor of Courageous Curries, the shoes you are currently wearing.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look over there, you can see people setting up for our annual curry cook-off.
Oh, cool. I'm assuming there will be recipes for curries like tikka, do piazza, Makani, Gon, Danzak, Rajima Masala, Buna Gosh,
and don't forget
Kerala,
Thai red curry.
Masala. Okay.
Don't forget that Thai red curry.
And of course, Thai red curry.
A curious man takes out a bib in anticipation of food. And blackout. Love it. Okay, so question. Kill, fuck, marry. Tim Cook, Tim Curry, Tim Rice.
I do not know who Tim Cook or Tim Rice are.
Oh wow. Okay. Tim Cook. I always confuse Tim Cook and Tim Rice, but I think Tim Cook is the CEO of Apple.
Okay.
And Tim Rice, I want to say, is like a sports guy. But that's like, I don't really know. So I guess you're gonna marry Tim Curry, Drew.
Oh, marrying Tim Curry, I think, would be fun. I think he would improve my acting ability like tenfold, because Tim Curry is one of the best actors, I think, in cinema history. So,
But is he a great spouse to the point where he would actually teach you his craft.
I feel like Tim Curry could cook. Like I feel like Tim Curry could make good curry.
I could see that. I could absolutely see that. It's in the name. It's right there in the name.
If Tim Curry like had a cooking show, I would tune in.
Me too. Me too. I would love that. He'd be like, he'd be like, "Hello, welcome to Cooking with Curry. This is Nigel Thornberry. Everything normal. Today we're gonna learn to cook curry. Eliza Thornberry, get back here." That's my Tim Curry impression. It's just Nigel Thornberry.
uh, yeah. And like a lot of times, like actors and producers, like Jon Favreau, like he has like a cooking show on Netflix, and it's really
Mhm.
good. So like, I feel like Tim Curry could definitely do a cooking show. And the thing is, like, I can see him cooking. Like,
Mm,
he's the type of person like I feel like he would be like a really good chef.
he would be good. Yep, I could see that too. You're right. When you're right, you're right, and you're right.
Oh, um, let's see. So that concludes the sketch portion. That's done. Okay. Now we can briefly talk about Perks of Being a Wallflower because unfortunately, that's another movie that we're gonna talk about. For me personally, I love Perks of Being a Wallflower. It is one of my favorite movies. I really, really love it. It really worked the first time I saw it. It equally works each time I see it. I discover something different from it each time I watch it. Stephen Chobosky, I think, is a really good writer, a brilliant writer, and a great director too. He did a really good job with it. I love all the performances so much.
Does it get better after 10 minutes?
um, um, yeah, which means like maybe like for a streaming service they'll re-edit, or maybe for the anniversary edition, which comes out, or the anniversary is in 2022. It came out in 2012, so maybe for the 10-year anniversary they'll do something special, or they'll have an edited version. Yeah, because I do kind of agree, it does start kind of slow. um if I had one criticism, it would be um the beginning, but I love what Chbosky does with flashback. I love how he introduces it in between to help tell the story and to help illustrate trauma that the main character Charlie is going through, and he does it in a very subtle way. I remember watching this with friends and they didn't get that aspect that Charlie was sexually abused by his aunt, but I actually got that right away, which is interesting. But
Mm.
I think it was how it was filmed that kind of led me into it. But or maybe I picked up on something, but that's kind of a key aspect that is really important, that women can also sexually abuse men, because I feel like that's something that people don't talk about, but they do have to talk about it because it's also an issue. So
Yeah. I mean, that was something that I really loved about. Did you see the show I May Destroy You?
no, I didn't see that one.
Oh, it's really, really good. And it's really profound, and it really gets into like a lot of the less talked about things um in the culture of survivors of sexual assault and stuff like
No,
that, in terms of like all the different ways
no,
that it can happen and all the ways that abuse and assault exist.
no,
It covers the less common talked about things as
no,
well as the bigger ones, so it's like
no.
it's really, really, if you like that, I highly recommend I May Destroy You. It's so fantastic, and it's available on HBO, your favorite channel. That's your favorite. Those are your middle initials. It's Drew HBO Garrison, right? It's got to be at least one of those.
Uh, uh, um, Hmm. Indeed. And if you enjoy the HBO, get HBO Go. Which
They're
it's
sponsoring this?
no.
They should.
Which it's HBO Max now, because if you want the maximum amount of HBO, get HBO Max, and you can take it to the max. Just maximize on HBO, just like the maximization of HBO, because you can't get enough HBO. Okay.
That's you couldn't have made these jokes with HBO Go. If you want to go to the max, then you've got it. Yeah. You know, they do have a lot on there. They've got lots of other stuff, lots of other content, folks. So really, HBO Max, get it or else neither one of us will talk to you. Right?
Oh,
Do you commit to that? I need you to commit to that. You're not
oh,
willing to talk to anybody without HBO, right?
yeah.
Perfect. It's in writing.
Mm, yeah. So just brief HBO tangent. Dan, I don't know if you like the studio Ghibli, or if you're familiar with Ghibli or the anime movies or Miyazaki films. Miyazaki is a wonderful director.
Mm-hmm.
I really like his movies a, a, a lot, actually. I believe that you can only stream Miyazaki movies specifically through HBO Max. Like, you might be able to YouTube it, but it's even hard to get on Amazon. So HBO Max is a good link to anime. If you're interested in anime, get HBO Max. You can watch some Miyazaki movies.
That's a good tip. I like that. I'm gonna have to watch them all tonight in one sitting because you told me to.
Very cool. Also, not a sponsor, but Netflix also has a vast and anime collection if you want some variety. They also have a lot of great anime on Netflix. So they don't have Miyazaki, but they do have anime. So
Mm.
their anime library is actually pretty big. So if you're ready to go down an anime rabbit hole, Netflix also a good choice.
I will absolutely do that the next time I'm hospitalized. Thank you. That is a great thing to do for when I'm, just finished a procedure and I'm on a bunch of drugs. I'm like, let me do an anime little loop, a little hole. We go down the anime rabbit hole. Probably won't do it at my leisure, but I will do it, when presented with fewer options. Um, Speaking of HBO Go, I kind of have to HBO Go to my job. So I hate to do
Okay.
this, but I do have to HBO wrap up.
Okay. HBO is in the know, and Dan is going to HBO Go,
Can I say my
and
credits?
Drew is going to HBO Go too. Dan hosts a mic/comedy show in Wissahickon, New Jersey, with Cassandra.
No, it's actually in Philly. It's
Oh,
like
sorry.
Wissahickon is basically it's still Philly. It's a little bit closer than Manayunk, but it's just below Manayunk.
Okay.
Never say New Jersey to me ever again. I don't want to hear those
sorry.
words. I never
Sorry.
want to think of that state.
Okay.
If I need to go to New York City, I fly in a helicopter just so I don't have to go through New Jersey. That happens every time. And it's kind of crazy because my helicopter pilot is Chris Christie. So you would think that it would be counterproductive.
Um, Very cool. So when when can guests join you and Cassandra D at the Wissahickon mic?
Every Tuesday night at Wissahickon Bar and Bistro at 8 o'clock. Super fun. fun little cute little bar show. There's spots for an open mic as well, so come do that. And yeah, I'm sure I have. Let me just look at my real credits to see if I do. Okay, yes, I do need to say I am doing the Frog Castle every day of the week. And again, we are doing the Chase Bank show. You will get a free debit card if you come through. And I also will be performing at a timeshare in Florida. 7-hour performance, all dirty jokes, and you get a very small apartment at the end of it. So come through, check that out. Um, I don't have any real credits. I'm not doing anything.
And just a little inside Philly note, just some quick inside comedy or baseball. Dan used to co-host Hang On with Aaron Nevins in
Aaron
Philadelphia.
Evans, yep. So yeah, I used to be the audience wrangler for Hang On with Aaron Nevins. Did you ever get to go to that show? Did you ever see it?
I did, and
Awesome.
it was awesome. And there's episodes on YouTube, correct?
I don't know if we put them up on YouTube, but we do have them in hiding. But he and I may be collaborating on some stuff soon, possibly. So stay tuned. But yes, that was a really really fun time. Made me really good at crowd work. So, God, I've been doing comedy for 13 years, 12, 13 years. So too long. I'm too old, but, but yes, that was a very fun time. Thank you for shouting that out. That is a cool credit from my past that I like.
Yeah, hang Hang On was really cool. Really awesome, really fun. One of my favorite shows in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. We did our best. Do you have anything that you'd like to plug? I feel like I should ask you.
Um, I'll be at the Grape Room next Tuesday at a show run by Sean Maholland, a really great and funny Philly comedian. He's so nice. He's such a nice
He's
guy. Like,
great. Love that guy.
yeah. So Sean Maholland runs it, and at a Grape Room in Manayunk, and I'll be going on, and it's happening at 8 o'clock. So if you guys are in Manayunk, um,
That's
around the Grape.
Manayunk. That's Manayunk, New Jersey.
Indeed. Okay. No, 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 no. Manayunk, Pennsylvania. It's practically in Philly, but not really.
Yeah, right by
So
Wissahickon.
cool. So if you're in Wissahickon, check out Dan. If you're in Manayunk, check out Shama Holland. And there you go. Thank you guys. This has been the Dream Podcast. Have a great day. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching.
Bye.